This is the story of the night Kayla McBride rewrote the WNBA record book. On Sunday, August 9th, 2026, McBride made 10 three-pointers, more than anyone in league history, and scored a career-high 43 points, leading the Minnesota Lynx past the Dallas Wings 103-90. A record that had stood since 2019 fell that night. And that wasn't even the whole story, because she also clinched her team a playoff spot, rewrote her own franchise's shooting history, and gave a 13-year veteran the signature performance of her career. Over the next 20 minutes, we're breaking down exactly how it happened, what it means, and why people are still going to be talking about this game years from now. Before we get into the record-breaking night itself, it helps to know who Kayla McBride actually is, because this wasn't some rookie catching lightning in a bottle. This was a 13-year professional cashing in on a career's worth of work. Erie, Pennsylvania, June 25th, 1992. That's where and when McBride's story starts. She stands 5'11" and plays shooting guard, and her game was built at Villa Maria Academy, back home in Erie, where she won back-to-back Pennsylvania Class AA state titles in 2009 and 2010 and picked up McDonald's All-American honors along the way. From there, she landed at Notre Dame, where she played from 2010 to 2014, and her college resume reads like a highlight reel on its own. 4 consecutive Final Four appearances, 3 trips to the NCAA championship game, and by her senior year in 2014, ACC Player of the Year and a consensus first-team All-American. That kind of resume gets you drafted early, and it did. The San Antonio Stars took McBride 3rd overall in the 2014 WNBA draft, a franchise that would later relocate and become the Las Vegas Aces, and she spent her first 6 pro seasons there, helping that team reach the WNBA Finals in 2020. Minnesota came calling in 2021, and that's where she's played ever since, picking up a Commissioner's Cup championship and a trip to the WNBA Finals with the Lynx in 2024. None of that even covers her off-seasons because, like a lot of WNBA players, McBride has spent them playing professionally overseas, competing in leagues in Hungary, Russia, and Turkey, and collecting EuroLeague championships along the way. These days, she suits up for Fenerbahce in Turkey when the WNBA season ends, and she's also part of Unrivaled, the 3-on-3 off-season league, having signed a multi-year deal with them that was reported back in July of 2026. By the summer of 2026, McBride had already climbed into the top 5 all-time in career three-pointers made in WNBA history, a milestone she hit back in June, which meant that heading into that August 9th game against Dallas, she was already one of the most accomplished shooters the league had ever seen. She just hadn't had her signature night yet. That was about to change. To understand why this game mattered so much, you have to understand where the Lynx stood as a team. Minnesota was rolling into that Sunday, having won 11 of their previous 12 games, and the night before, on Saturday, August 8th, they'd beaten the defending champion Las Vegas Aces by 11 points, scoring 98. That win was part of a bigger offensive surge because the Lynx had topped 100 points in 4 of their previous 6 games. Las Vegas, meanwhile, had a rough Saturday of their own. Head coach Becky Hammon rested Aja Wilson, Chelsea Gray, and Jackie Young, and the result was an ugly 111-71 blowout loss to the New York Liberty. So Minnesota walked into Sunday's game against Dallas already playing some of the best basketball in the league, sitting on a league best record and looking to keep the momentum going. Dallas, on the other side, was fighting for its playoff life. The Wings were without their number 1 overall draft pick, Azzi Fudd, downgraded to out that Sunday morning with a knee injury, which left the scoring load on Hopkins, Minnesota native Paige Bueckers, who would go on to lead the Wings with a team-high 23 points. Dallas also lost forward Jessica Shepard, a former Lynx player now back in Minnesota with her new team, just 5 minutes into the game when she went down with an ankle injury and never returned. That's the backdrop: a surging, near unstoppable Minnesota team, a shorthanded and struggling Dallas team, and, by one report, a crowd of roughly 14,421 fans packed into Target Center with no idea they were about to watch history happen. Section 3, the night itself, 43 points, 10 threes. Now let's get into the numbers because they're staggering. McBride closed the night with 43 points, a new career high, shooting 16 for 21 from the field for a level of efficiency that's hard to overstate. And those 16 made field goals tied a Lynx franchise record on their own. But the number that matters most is the one from behind the arc, 10 for 14 on threes. 10 made threes in a single game. That's not just a great shooting performance, that's a WNBA record. And here's a detail that puts the whole night in perspective. McBride attempted exactly one free throw. According to Inforum, that's reportedly the fewest free throw attempts ever recorded in a 40-plus point WNBA game. She didn't need the free throw line at all. She just kept shooting from outside over and over, and it kept going in. Even the tough shots fell for her. McBride went a perfect 7 for 7 on contested field goals, good for 18 points on looks where a defender was right in her face. And when rookie teammate Olivia Miles was setting her up, McBride turned nearly automatic, hitting 8 of 9 shots that came off a Miles assist. Miles had a career night of her own alongside her, scoring 20 points on 5 of 8 shooting from 3 and dishing a career-high 13 assists, while Napheesa Collier chipped in 17 points, 8 rebounds, 4 steals, and a block. This was a full team effort, no question, but the story of the night belonged to one player. Minnesota closed it out 103-90, and as a team, the Lynx set a new franchise record for three-pointers made in a single game, finishing 18 for 39 from behind the arc. McBride alone accounted for more than half of that total. Section 4, the record-breaking moment. Let's slow down now and walk through the actual shot that made history. With 2 minutes and 23 seconds left in the fourth quarter, Napheesa Collier found McBride open, though the exact spot depends who you ask. One outlet places her in the corner, while the Star Tribune describes the look as coming in front of the Lynx bench. Wherever she was standing, McBride let it fly, her 10th three, and it fell through the net to officially break the WNBA's single-game three-point record. The bucket also stretched Minnesota's lead to 98-83. Here's what says the most about her mindset that night. According to CBS Sports, McBride admitted afterward that she wasn't even tracking the record herself, and it took a member of the Lynx coaching staff to tell her she needed just one more three. Her own explanation for the whole night was refreshingly simple. Just trying to win, really, that's all it is. McBride stayed in a little longer after the record fell, then checked out with 1 minute and 21 seconds remaining to a standing ovation from the Target Center crowd. There was a lighter moment in the post-game press conference too, when Olivia Miles turned to her teammate and asked, "Do you remember that your name's Kayla?" McBride's answer, "Sometimes." Miles also opened up about what the arena felt like from the inside, saying, "Hearing her name chanted and fully deserved, and just seeing a community of people who are truly there to support something they love is so special." Lynx head coach Cheryl Reeve had her own take on the night, one that doubled as a jab at the fact McBride wasn't selected as an all-star this season despite carrying a heavy two-way workload. Reeve put it this way: "She's an all-WNBA player. It's disgraceful she was not an all-star who chased Paige Bueckers around while dropping 43. She just knows that's her job. She embraces it, loves it." McBride herself, reflecting on the bigger arc of her career and her choice to return to Minnesota in the off-season, said this: "I've been in this league for 13 years, and choosing to come back here in the off-season, as moments like this, times like this, you realize you made the right decision." She also opened up about what the city itself means to her. Minneapolis has become home for me, and I want to give my best. Whether the ball goes in or doesn't, I just feel so much love. I think that's why I can come out here and do my thing. I feel so loved and appreciated for who I am, and I just love the game. 13 years into a professional career, and it took this exact city and this exact moment to produce her career night. That's not a coincidence. That's what happens when a player finds the right fit at the right time. Section 5, what record did she actually break? So, what bar did McBride actually clear? The previous WNBA record for three-pointers in a single game set at 9, a mark Kelsey Mitchell first set back in 2019, and while plenty of players matched that number in the years since, nobody had ever pushed past it. 9 threes was the ceiling of what anyone thought possible in a single WNBA game. This wasn't some dusty old record either, because it had been challenged repeatedly during the 2026 season alone. Chelsea Gray hit 9 threes on June 11th, and Marina Mabrey matched that mark twice within about a week in June, most recently on the 25th. The 9-3 club was getting crowded fast. But every single time, that number 9 held. Then McBride got to 10. What made the timing even wilder was just how hot three-point shooting had gotten across the entire league that week. 3 days before McBride's record night, on Thursday, August 6th, Marina Mabrey of the Toronto Tempo scored 53 points, tying the WNBA's all-time single-game scoring record, and knocked down 9 threes of her own in a blowout win over the Los Angeles Sparks. This wasn't an isolated moment. It was a stretch where the record book itself seemed up for grabs, and McBride is the one who actually broke through it. This record-setting night wasn't McBride's first brush with this kind of performance either. Her own previous career high for made threes set at 8, a number she'd reached once in 2024 and again in 2025. 8, 8, then 10 on the night it counted the most. That's the progression. Section 6, where this night ranks in Lynx history. 43 points is a franchise-defining number on its own, and it's worth putting it inside the context of Lynx history specifically. McBride's 43 points now stand as the third most scored by a Lynx player in a regulation game, and per Inforum, this marked just the 6th 40-plus point game in franchise history, period. Only 2 performances rank higher. Maya Moore holds the top spot with 48 points, scored in a double overtime win over Atlanta back in 2014, and Katie Smith sits second with 46 points in an overtime loss to Los Angeles back in 2001. Strip away the overtime games though, and McBride's 43 is the biggest total any Lynx player has ever posted in regulation, no extra periods needed. Her fingerprints on the Lynx record book go well beyond this one game too. Back in June of 2026, she'd already moved into 5th place all-time in career WNBA three-pointers made, and this record-breaking night gave her sole possession of the Lynx franchise three-point record after teammate Olivia Miles had briefly pulled even with her mark earlier in the season. This wasn't a record night that came out of nowhere. It was the continuation of a season, and honestly a whole career, built on elite three-point shooting. Section 7, the bigger picture, what the win meant for Minnesota. Individual records make for great highlights, but this game mattered for the Lynx as a team too. The win made Minnesota the first team in the entire WNBA to clinch a playoff spot in 2026, pushing their record to 27 wins and 7 losses, good at the time for a lead of 3.5 games over the Golden State Valkyries for the number 1 seed, and a cushion of 4.5 games over the Las Vegas Aces. It was Minnesota's 12th win in its last 13 games, and paired with the offensive explosion against Las Vegas the night before, this was a team peaking at exactly the right moment, riding a hot streak into the heart of the playoff race, with its best player delivering the performance of her career right in the middle of it. Dallas wasn't so lucky. The loss dropped the Wings to 19 wins and 14 losses, holding on to the 8th and final playoff seed at the time, just one game back from three other teams jockeying for position and a game and a half behind the 4th place Indiana Fever. Between this loss and the injuries to Azifad and Jessica Shepard, it was about as costly a night as Dallas could have had in the middle of a tight playoff race. That's the full story of the night Kayla McBride became the WNBA record holder. On August 9th, 2026, at Target Center in Minneapolis, in front of a crowd of roughly 14,000, a 13-year professional who chose to come back to Minnesota in the off-season delivered a career-high 43 points and a WNBA record 10 three-pointers, breaking a mark Kelsey Mitchell had set back in 2019, one that nobody had managed to get past in 7 years. The night moved her into sole possession of her own franchise's three-point record, gave the Lynx their most efficient collective offensive performance of the season, with Olivia Miles and Nafisa Collier stepping up right alongside her, and helped push Minnesota to become the first team in the league to punch its ticket to the playoffs. 13 years of building a resume most players would kill for, a top 3 draft pick, a finals appearance with 2 different franchises, championships overseas, a spot in the WNBA's all-time top 5 for three-pointers made, and on August 9th, 2026, Kayla McBride added the signature line to all of it: the most three-pointers anyone has ever made in a single WNBA game. Thanks for watching. If you want more deep dives into the numbers, the records, and the stories behind the players shaping this league, get subscribed and I'll see you in the next one.